Meet the Californian ground squirrel. It's an endearing little rodent, but it does face a big problem. A constant and terrifying threat. Rattlesnakes. Deadly serpents that hunt by smell. Once locked on to a squirrel's scent, there's no escape. Or is there? You see, these squirrels have a distinctly devious con to fool the sinister snakes. And central to that con is this. One of the rattlesnake's old shed skins. Just watch this. Look at that. The squirrels come over, picked up the skin and started chewing it. They rub the mush all over their bodies. You see, they're masking their own scent. Now they smell like the snakes instead. It's fooling, the principal way the ruthless rattlers hunt them down. The snakes just can't detect the squirrels. It's ingenious, isn't it? Absolutely ingenious. They use the snake's own scent to hide themselves. Now that's nature at its most devious. And it turns out that these sneaky squirrels aren't the only ones tricking other animals to survive. Every day, animals face the single greatest challenge of their lives: survive or die. They've got to outwit potential predators, find or catch food, and then raise the next generation. Frankly, the stakes couldn't be higher. So in the face of all of this, how on earth can animals increase their chances? I mean, would they lie, cheat, even steal from one another just to survive? Come on, of course they would. Join me as I meet the world's sneakiest animals. Or do whatever it takes to survive. Now, if there's anywhere on the planet where staying alive is a constant struggle, then it's here, the African savannah. To avoid the attention of predators, most animals' coat colours blend into the background. But one in particular has perfected an incredibly sneaky disguise. The zebra. No, seriously, I mean it. The zebra. Let's just stop for a minute and think about these animals, in particular their markings. I mean, they are striking, stunning animals. But at the same time, they might strike you as a little ridiculous when you think about it. After all, they're living out here on the plains of Africa, which are famed for being alive with predators. And yet, look, they stick out like a sore thumb. So perhaps this begs the question, the age-old question, why does the zebra have its stripes?
Well, over the years, there have been plenty of theories. From helping to keep them cool in the heat, or attracting a mate, or even a way of identifying each other. But to be honest, none of these have stood the test of time. Now, groundbreaking new science is suggesting that these bold patterns are keeping the zebras safe from their enemies. But how? Well, perhaps there's a clue in the colours themselves. Black and white are the two most contrasting colours, and when combined, they play tricks on the mind.
Take a look at this, and don't adjust your sets. This is known as the cafe wall illusion.
Look at the horizontal lines. They look sloping, diagonal, uneven, right?
But just look at this. You'll see that there are no skewy or diagonal lines at all. In fact, everything is perfectly even and horizontal.
Before, the lines look sloping. After, they're perfectly straight. Black and white patterns can confuse our vision. And they are the two most common colours used in optical illusions.
So, could it be that a phenomenon like this could contribute to the whole enigma of the zebra stripes?
Well, one man has been investigating exactly this. Dr. Martin Howell is an expert in the way that predators see their prey.
I've been studying animal vision for a number of years now and became quite interested in what the zebra stripes might be doing to the visual systems of their main predators. They've got these very strong stripes, but nobody's really explained convincingly why they're striped.
Martin's got an exciting theory. That the bold, contrasting patterns, when viewed by predators, could be creating an optical illusion. It's an idea called motion dazzle. Let me show you how it works with an example we're all very familiar with.
Now, just watch this. If I begin to turn this bicycle wheel, you can see that it's moving in a clockwise direction, and it looks like it's moving in a clockwise direction. But if I turn it more quickly, like this, then suddenly something magical happens. The wheel appears to be moving in the opposite direction. It appears to be going completely backwards.
It's called the wagon wheel illusion. The faster something rotates, the more we struggle to process the movement. Our brain tries to simplify what we're seeing. It gets the direction wrong. To investigate whether something like this could be happening with the zebra's monochrome stripes, Martin developed a computer model to analyse footage.
What we've got here is we've got the original footage of the zebras moving from left to right, and below we've got the output of the model. The brightness of the colour shows you where the movement is happening,
Right.
and the colour itself tells you the direction, so the green areas are moving to the right, and the red areas are moving to the left.
Okay, but there is a mass of red in there. Does that mean that those parts of those zebra to the predator look like they're moving completely in the opposite direction, back to the left?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it really demonstrates that it's the zebra stripes that are causing the effect.
Let's just be clear on this. Here, we've isolated the two key colours. As the zebras are walking to the right, the model should only be showing green, no other colours. Remarkably, the red we are seeing is suggesting that a predator would perceive the zebras to be moving in completely the opposite direction, just like the bike wheel. Predators must precisely judge the speed and direction of their prey in order to make a kill. This research shows that as zebras start moving, the stripes create a miraculous and disorientating illusion, making it harder for the predators to home in on them. In a hunt, every second counts, so this dazzling form of defense could be confusing predators just enough for the zebras to escape and live to see another day. It's an outstandingly sneaky trick. Zebras have transformed themselves into a walking, trotting, galloping optical illusion which both deceives and deters their predators. And if I'm honest with you, up until now, I've never really given them a second look. I've always thought of them as small, stripy ponies living out here to be eaten by something more interesting. But no longer. I now see them as unique and beautiful animals. Creatures that have pulled off an incredible deception to produce one of the most effective anti-predator strategies that we have on our planet. Motion dazzle is a brilliant way to confuse hunting predators. But animals have other ingenious ways to outwit their enemies. One creature's sneaky strategy is to avoid being detected in the first place. You're looking at a northern leaf-tailed gecko, and these animals are incredibly difficult to spot. Try focusing just here. Now that really is a master of disguise.
used to have a book when I was a kid. It had a photograph of one of these things in, and I could barely believe it existed. You can only find them here in northern Queensland, in the tropical forest, and it is one of the largest geckos in the world.
They feed at night, but it's when they sleep during the day that they have a big problem. This forest is alive with hungry eyes, all looking to prey on an exposed lizard. You see, our gecko is too big to hide away or tuck in under bark. So, stuck out on a limb, in broad daylight, it deploys its party trick.
The gecko has developed an ability that we can only dream of. Just watch this. It vanishes into thin air.
The gecko's vanishing act starts with its skin. It's covered in a series of strongly contrasting patterns. In close-up, they really stand out, but from a distance, they break up the gecko's body shape and its outline, allowing it to blend seamlessly into any forest background. It's known as disruptive camouflage. Even their eyes have it. But there are other clues the gecko's predators could pick up on.
Any three-dimensional object, no matter how well camouflaged, has the potential to produce a shadow. And this shadow is a dead giveaway to any predator. To combat this, the geckos have very loose skin, which they flatten against the trees when they're trying to hide. To complete their vanishing act, the geckos have subtle fringes that run around the edges of their bodies, particularly on their tails. And these serve to break up their outline and any sharply defined edges.
By using these principles, animals have perfected the ultimate camouflage. The effectiveness, the sheer beauty of these devious disguises is quite mind-blowing. Just look at these sneaky creatures. Can you make it out? It's a dead leaf butterfly from Malaysia. What about these animals? These are pygmy seahorses from New Guinea. And finally, how about the incredible disguise of this hooded grasshopper?
And for our leaf-tailed gecko, and yes, it is still here, perfecting this disguise means one important thing. It can rest, it can sleep here in the open and avoid the attention of predators all day long.
Now, it's all very well some animals being able to blend perfectly into their background. That's clearly a great advantage. But what about if these species then want to move from one habitat into another? Then it could clearly be a disadvantage unless they had the ability to change their camouflage. And ultimately, if they could continue to change that disguise, they would come up with nature's invisibility cloak. Something that you might think is a bit far-fetched, but I've got to tell you that it isn't. There's a creature living out there right now that can do just that. And what a splendid creature it is. What do you mean you can't see it? It's in the middle. There, amongst the seaweed. I give you the cuttlefish. Unfortunately for them, they are one of the most sought-after meals in the ocean. Their bodies have no physical protection, so they've come up with a cunning defense. They transform themselves entirely to match their surroundings. In his US-based lab, cuttlefish expert Dr. Roger Hanlon is investigating how they conjure up these incredible illusions. He's presenting the cuttlefish with different backgrounds. And then pulling the rug out from underneath them. And it reveals just how quickly they can adapt. As Roger is discovering, the key to this seemingly supernatural power is their skin.
Well, this is truly amazing, perhaps some of the most beautiful skin on planet Earth. And they need elegant skin because they have to create these colors and patterns and contrast to create this camouflage. So in the top layer of the skin, they have these beautiful pigmented organs. We call them chromatophores.
Chromatophores are tiny packages of different colored pigment. Each individual chromatophore is pulled and stretched by muscles controlled by the brain, turning a dot into a circle of color. The combined effect of 3 million chromatophores and other specialist cells changes the cuttlefish's color and pattern in an instant. This amazing color-changing ability is made even more remarkable by one astonishing fact. Cuttlefish are colorblind. Yes, that's right. They can't even see the colors they're trying to match. So how on earth do they match their surroundings quite so perfectly? Well, recently Roger and his colleagues have discovered the cuttlefish's beautiful secret. Dotted across their skin are specialist cells containing opsin. It's a protein usually only ever found in eyes.
So this is a marvelous, strange discovery. They seem to have light-detecting molecules distributed in the skin, and these are the same molecules that are in the retina and the eye.
In effect, their skin can sense, possibly even see, color. But then these great illusionists have another show-stopping trick.
The cuttlefish have this morphing skin. The skin can actually go from flat to three-dimensional. Think ultimate goosebumps in a human, for example. No other animal can do this.
The cuttlefish morph and change texture to match any surroundings. It's an extraordinary ability. These clever cuttlefish and their close relatives octopus have the most amazing shape-shifting vanishing act that I've ever seen. And when it comes to playing hide and seek with predators, these deceitful creatures are always the winners. Camouflage is a wonderfully sneaky and successful way to avoid predators. So many different animals depend on it to survive.
But you know, for even the best camouflaged animals, there's a problem. You see, the second they move, the illusion is blown. It really doesn't matter how well hidden they are, it spoils the trick. But nature always finds a way.
So could there be an even craftier ploy? One that could protect a conniving creature around the clock? No matter where they were or what they did. A disguise that all predators would want to avoid all of the time. Venomous, toxic, or decidedly deadly. Many animals use bright warning colours to declare the threat that they pose. Predators learn to avoid these animals. They know the consequences if they try to eat them. But sometimes, all is not as it seems.
Two snakes, both displaying classic warning coloration, both residents of here, the southeastern United States. But one of these snakes is deadly venomous. It's the eastern coral snake. The venom is packed with neurotoxins which paralyse the breathing system, so one bite is pretty much certainly fatal. That would be a snake to avoid. But the other snake is a bare-faced liar. The scarlet king snake is absolutely harmless.
The big question is, which is which?
Because in a moment, I'm going to take one of these two snakes out of the jar, bare-handed. So which one will it be?
Which one would you choose?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to go for this snake. And this snake is the scarlet king snake. It's the faker. And just look at it. It is absolutely beautiful.
In this neck of the woods, it helps to remember a rhyme that could save your life. Red touches yellow, could kill a fella. Red touches black, friend to Jack. And here the red and black bands are touching. So this is our harmless king snake. Round here this snake is certainly on the menu for many larger animals. So it's evolved a sneaky tactic. This is a classic case of imitation. The harmless king snake is mimicking its deadly rival, the coral snake, in the hope that predators will buy this con and leave it well alone. Well, that's the theory at least, but I see a problem. You see, they're not exactly the same, are they? So, could this mimicry really confer protection on this cheating snake? Unbelievably, until recently it had never actually been tested in the field. That is, until now. Professor David Fennick is an expert in the king snake's masterful mimicry. Earlier in the year, he set out replicas of both snakes in front of camera traps. He's investigating how predators really react to these warning colours. I can't wait to see the results.
So David, how did the experiment go?
I think it worked out fabulous, and so you can see we found a real diversity of animal life appearing on our videos.
Okay, so a great range of species, but at least 2 of those animals are potential predators of the snake.
The gray foxes and the coyotes would be predators of these snakes. The raccoons would probably be as well. When we look at the reactions of these predators of the snakes, we find they're treating them as if they were real snakes.
But surely the bright warning coloration has to be putting off the majority of attacks.
That's right. Generally, they're not attacking our fake snakes. They're avoiding them, and you can see this avoidance in several of these clips. Sometimes they do go after them, and they do attack them at very low frequency, though.
And what do you see in terms of a difference between the number of fake coral snakes and the number of fake king snakes being attacked?
They're equally likely to be attacked. So even though the coral snake and the king snake have different ring order, predators are avoiding both.
So despite not looking exactly the same, the mimetic king snake is still gaining all of the advantage of its phony warning colours.
The reason why that works is that the coral snake is really, really deadly. It can kill an adult human, it could kill any of these predators. So just vaguely looking like it is good enough to get you by.
Just as I gambled with my life earlier. No. If a predator wanted to eat one of these 2 snakes and picked the wrong one, it could cost them their life. So they tend to play it safe, avoiding any snake with obvious warning colours. Mimicry really is an excellent strategy for survival. It's a brilliantly cunning way to protect yourself from predators 24 hours a day. So it's hardly surprising that when one species evolves to be deadly dangerous, others sneak in and copy them. Harmless hoverflies copy the warning colours of stinging bees. This bush-veld lizard mimics the markings of the orc pister, a tenacious beetle that sprays formic acid. Targeting the eyes, it can cause temporary blindness. Definitely something worth impersonating then. The little lizard even adopts a silly walk to perfect the parody. But how about this amazing new discovery? The ball of bright ginger fluff is the chick of the secretive Sneakiest mourner. It starts worming around in the nest because it's impersonating one of these, a highly noxious caterpillar. This is the first time it's ever been filmed.
It's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it? A tiny chick pretending to be a deadly, poisonous caterpillar. But you know, mimicry isn't always about changing your appearance or your behaviour. There is one unlikely impersonator who uses mimicry in a completely different way. And I've come here to this unusual location on the outskirts of Sacramento to meet it. This was a building site. It was planned, but the houses were never put up. But that hasn't stopped one family from moving in to number 1 Bluff Way. Burrowing owls. And you look at them, they're absolutely delightful little birds. These are not normal owls, running around on the ground, hanging out in the daytime. Oh, and as the name suggests, they live down burrows. This family have 5 youngsters which are just starting to explore outside the burrow. And that burrow provides excellent protection from any aerial predators, there's no doubt about that. But it's not quite so good when it comes to ground predators. In this unusual neighbourhood, a stray dog is a real threat to our young family. So, to deter ground predators, burrowing owls deploy a really sneaky strategy. A willing volunteer should help demonstrate what I mean. Meet Ruby. She's a 3-year-old hand-reared burrowing owl. Ruby can do something which is very pertinent to what we're interested in when she wants to. Like I said, when she wants to. No, nothing, not a peep. Okay, I won't look at her, and then she'll probably do it. Okay. Then, finally, she does what I wanted to see. Look at that. In fact, it's the sound. It's the copycat call that's key to the burrowing owl's defense. Why do you think she's making that sound? It's tricky, isn't it? But I'll give you a clue. I can tell you that Ruby shares her space with a species of pretty noxious snake.
Rattlesnakes are highly venomous and known for their aggression. The famous rattle is a warning. Steer well clear or I'll bite. And like our owls, they also hide down burrows. So that's what the owls are up to. If they can accurately impersonate an angry rattlesnake deep in a dark burrow, then no predator in its right mind is going to bother them.
But for this impersonation to work, it has to be totally convincing. So does it work? Does it actually fool other animals? Let's put it to the test.
Now, if you were paying attention at the very beginning of this program, you'll know that these endearing Californian ground squirrels live in constant fear of rattlesnakes. And of course, rightly so. Because out here, 70% of the rattlesnake's diet is squirrel.
If there's one animal whose life definitely depends on its ability to recognize a rattlesnake's rattle, then this is it. If the owl's impersonation can fool these guys, it will fool any predator. These are the perfect test subject.
The plucky little squirrels have an audacious approach to tackling their number one nemesis. Rather than run, they mob the snake, waving their tails frantically. It's the squirrel's way of saying, "I've seen you, so don't try anything clever." Okay, we've got the squirrel here. Let's see what happens when I play the owl's rattlesnake call. Here we go. Look at that. The squirrel's wagging its tail, and that's what they do when they sense there's a rattlesnake about. So this little chap is convinced that there's a snake in the grass. Little does it know, it's an owl doing an impersonation. What about that? And for our young family living in a tough urban environment, a sneaky trick like this is helping them to survive.
I don't know. Just when you think that you might have seen and heard it all, up pops an owl that makes a sound like a rattlesnake. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? And it works. Because by turning themselves into ventriloquists, these animals are replicating the sound of that deadly reptile in the burrow at a time when their chicks are at their most vulnerable. And it's saving their lives, there's no doubt about it.
But what if an animal used mimicry not to fool its predators, but to trick others of its own species? Sounds far-fetched, but an amazing new discovery could well be an example of exactly that. So, lions. What do we need to know about lions? Well, firstly, they're very territorial. side defends a home patch, which they absolutely depend on to survive. Secondly, it's the males who guard that territory. Everything clear? Good, because here comes the sneaky bit. Deep in Botswana's Okavango Delta, there's an extraordinary lion that's rewriting all of the rules. This is Mamoreri, a perfectly ordinary male lion, complete with a characteristic mane. Right? Well, actually, no. Wrong. You see, Mamoreri is a lioness.
But she's all you'd ever want. She's the kind I'd like to flaunt and take to dinner. But she always knows her place. She's got style, she's got grace. She's a winner. She's a lady. Oh, she's a lady. Talking about that little lady.
Yes, I know she's got a full mane, but I promise you, she is all woman. Not only does Mamoreri look like a male, she acts like a male. Even her roar is deeper and more masculine. Right now, there are thought to be 5 of these maned lionesses in the Okavango. And this is the first time that one of them has ever been filmed. They probably all have the same genetic mutation, which has created an imbalance of hormones. This is extraordinary stuff. But what does it mean for this pride? Well, scientists suspect that because Mamoreri mimics a male, rivals might think there are more males in her pride than there actually are. If they can increase their territory because of this, then it would really improve her pride's survival chances. This mutation could even be the start of a new and very devious lion strategy. Evolution happening right before our eyes with one of the most iconic animals on the planet. It's incredible. Mimicry is a successful survival strategy used by animals the world over. Impersonating others has entirely changed the way that animals look and even how they behave. But what if animals could adapt their behavior and make deliberate, strategic decisions about when and how to trick others? Well, then they could pull off the sneakiest con tricks of all. One of these animal hustlers lives here, in the forests of Panama. White-faced capuchins. This group are a close-knit family. Together, they defend a territory that they depend upon to survive. But other monkey troops are trying to take their turf. As a consequence of that, these monkeys are always in conflict. Fighting is a dangerous business. Injuries are common. In fact, more capuchins are killed by each other than by predators. The stakes couldn't be higher. Guarding a territory obviously takes teamwork, and individual capuchin can't keep an invading troop out on its own. And obviously from that troop's point of view, it makes sense to look after the territory. They need it to survive. But let's just stop for a moment and think about the implications on the individual monkeys. Yes, it's their duty to help defend the territory. But that takes time and energy, and then there's the likelihood of getting seriously injured. And for a monkey like this, that is a huge dilemma, and it's led to the evolution of some extraordinarily treacherous tactics. These monkeys are part of a long-term study. Leading the research is primatologist Meg Crowford. She's going to show me just how sneaky these monkeys can be. By playing a recording of a neighbouring troop, she's simulating a territorial invasion.
There's a female looking towards the speaker with a baby on her back.
On the ground right here.
That's alpha now in this case.
Well, that's certainly got a response to it.
Here we go. One of the juveniles.
Yes. Wow. Look, two more there. Yeah.
So we've seen 5 monkeys come this way. The big male, the 3 juveniles, and that one female with the baby on her back. But 2 of the females looked at the speaker and didn't come forward at all.
They didn't seem to want to get involved in
they didn't.
looking after their territory.
I just saw 2 monkeys cheating their own family in a social species that's supposed to work together. This new discovery has surprised everyone. But what's really interesting is that some days these same 2 females do respond to the recordings. They do rush in to help. Another day, a different monkey cheats the troop. To a lesser and greater extent, they're all up to it. So there's definitely a sneaky strategy in play here. So if the same monkeys don't cheat all of the time, that means they must be making decisions every time there's a potential conflict as to whether to cheat or not.
Yes, I think that's definitely true. It seems to be an interesting tension between the likelihood that the group is going to be able to win without you and your own sort of personal desire to avoid risk entirely.
These monkeys have weighed things up and decided to cheat the group. But it's a huge risk. After all, it could jeopardize their own family's long-term survival. But for the individual monkey, if it means avoiding injury, then the con pays off. Being able to decide which trick to pull out of the bag and when is critical to a successful sneaky strategy. So what is the ultimate animal hustle? Well, one creature really will do whatever it takes to survive.
The horned lizard. What an animal! Look at it. I'm absolutely smitten. To me, this is gorgeous. This defines cute. And of course you can see how it gets its name. This super spiky skin. And this dinosaur appearance normally protects it from predators. Normally. But occasionally, this little animal has to pull off the riskiest con of all.
Horned lizards lay eggs and then carefully bury them. Then they stand guard duty. Her camouflage keeps her concealed as she scans the horizon for any potential danger. And what's this? A western patch-nosed snake. That's not good. She eyes him up, but she is not the one in danger. You see, this is an egg-eating snake. There's no point in staying hidden now. It's protecting the eggs that's important. She charges into battle. Her frenzied attack drives the snake away. It's a tactic that works when it comes to protecting eggs. So a horned lizard like this can recognize its adversary, measure the threat to its eggs, and then decide on the appropriate defensive response. All very clever stuff. But what about if the tables are turned? Well, then the lizard has to change its strategy. And that's when things get really interesting. A coach whip snake. This snake eats lizards, and she knows it. First, she tries a simple scan, puffing herself up to look bigger, more intimidating. But this doesn't fool the persistent snake. This is now a matter of life and death. So she's forced into pulling the sneakiest strategy of all, her greatest deception. She's faked her own death. If the snake doesn't buy the con, this is going to backfire in a spectacularly bad way. But snakes, you see, never eat dead animals unless they've made the kill themselves. Completely confused, the snake slopes off. A quick peek to check the coast is clear, and she springs back to life. Ready for whatever life throws at her next. Surely this has to be the ultimate predator response. Faking your own death right under the nose of your most dangerous enemy. It's audacious and it's gutsy, And what's more, this little lizard actually decides when to fight and when to pull off that show-stopping deception. And by making that decision, it can protect its eggs and keep itself alive. What about that? In fact, I'm going to give the horned lizard a very rare 10 out of 10. Not just because of the behaviour, but also because I'm totally in love with it. Look at it. It's my little dinosaur. All these extraordinarily sneaky animals have gone to incredible lengths to fool their enemies and outwit their predators. By using deception, they've overcome one of life's greatest challenges: staying alive. Next time, we meet the animals using sneaky strategies to find food. The hunters, the con artists and thieves who will stop at nothing to get a meal. These animals definitely don't play by the rules.
And the series continues in the new year, going retro now with Dad's Army, Captain Mannering's cracking the jokes and carving the turkey next on BBC Two. That's followed by seasonal sketches from the Two Ronnies, a festive treat featuring Elaine Page on the way in half an hour. And it wouldn't be Christmas night without a ballad, Carlos Acosta's Carmen, the farewell performance over on